What's going on YouTube? We back with another banger video, and today we are reacting to Stop Being Scared and Watch One Piece. Universal out. I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
You know that feeling you get when you finish the last episode of a really great show? And I'm not talking about like a mini series or a week-long binge watch. I'm talking about a
I don't know why y'all One Piece videos are just always so older. Like this is also a 2-year-old video. I believe it's yeah, 2 years ago somebody made this video. So man, I don't know why y'all videos are like this, but it's not me. Okay, I'm trying to find newer videos, but I can't find any. Okay, I can't.
show spanning multiple seasons that you spend a decent period of your life consuming. When you see those credits roll for the final time, there's this weird feeling of emptiness that closure brings. You've practically grown with these characters, witnessed their highest highs, their lowest lows, and participated in their journey all the way through to their final destination. Now, sometimes that final destination can be disappointing, other times it can be satisfying, but that void is still present. That chapter of your life is now closed. I've experienced this quite a few times with shows like Avatar, Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders, and most recently Succession. And this whole idea got me thinking, if this is how I'm feeling with shows I've only spent months or a couple years watching, what on earth am I gonna do when One Piece finally ends? Listen! I'm a man who Because when that day comes, when Luffy's eventually crowned Pirate King, I don't think I'll ever experience another story like that in my life. This is a series that's been going on since
So wait. So they're not. Why is this full screen?
1997, and it's remained consistently.
I don't know why that's right there. Anyway, so with One Piece, they're not trying to find the devil fruits. They're Luffy is trying to become the Pirate King. Is that like his whole thing? I thought his whole thing was trying to become like, trying to get a, I don't know, trying to find the devil fruits or whatever. But I guess that's not what it is.
Good for 26 years. In fact, I'd argue that right now is the best time to not only be a One Piece fan, but also to become a One Piece fan. I feel like One Piece is one of those series that everyone has an opinion on, whether they've seen the show or not. And a large part of that has to do with the fact that the show just aired its 1088th episode.
Damn!
It's probably at like 1,200 or 1,120 something right by now, bro.
I'm sorry.
Every time I try to recommend this show to people, I get the inevitable response of, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not watching all that. Which, to be fair, 1,000 episodes is a lot more than 12. But to those who have even the slightest bit of curiosity into this story but are turned off by its length,
and I ain't gonna lie, it's not even the length for me. It's really nothing. I just haven't sat down and had the time to watch One Piece. That's probably like my biggest thing. I just haven't sat down and watched it. You know what I'm saying? I just finished Naruto with my girlfriend. Like we finished all of Naruto. Naruto Shippuden. We're on Boruto right now. We just finished regular Naruto. I just watched it for the second time with her, and she loved it. So maybe we might watch One Piece. I don't know yet, but
this is what I'll say. Almost everyone I know,
I'm not against it, okay? I'm not against it,
who's caught up with this series, who's been a part of Luffy's journey, has not regretted it. Millions of people from around the world dedicated years of their lives to just this one story. No regrets. And there's a reason for that. There's a level of care put into so many different aspects of this story and the world it takes place in. It's the type of care that gives the henchmen and background characters just as much personality as the protagonist. It's the type of care that treats each new location as its own unique, visibly lived in region with its own political system, species, culture, and history. It's the type of care that makes you feel just as part of the crew as Zoro or Nami or Sanji. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't let the sheer quantity of One Piece steer you away from
experiencing. Like, it looks so good. The anime looks so good. It do. I can tell it's a great anime. I don't know why. I need to watch it, bro. I might watch it on stream. I might stream it.
The quality it has to offer. But before I get into that, I want to come at you from a perspective that I don't hear many other fans talk about. I cannot emphasize enough that what Oda's doing with One Piece is truly unprecedented in so many different areas. It is by far the most successful manga series of all time, and given how popular it still is and how long the series has left to go, this is a record that will never be broken in our lifetimes. Now, in a majority of cases, when you're running a series at this kind of level for as long as it's been around, there's an inevitable fall off that ensues at some point. Look at stories that aren't even half as long as One Piece, like Game of Thrones, Dexter, Bleach, Naruto, and how they just weren't able
I don't know about Naruto.
to sustain that early period of success. Not only is One Piece thriving, with the latest Egghead Island cementing itself as a top tier arc in the series, Netflix just put out a good live action
Yeah, like I said, this is an older video, so we already on the second season of the One Piece live action, and I have watched the first season. It hooked me. I'm not gonna lie, the first season hooked me. It really did.
remake of the
I
show
enjoyed it.
covering the early chapters. Let me repeat that. Not only is the 1,000-chapter manga and anime arguably still at its peak, the live-action remake is also great. That is unheard of. Dragon Ball couldn't do it, Full Metal Alchemist couldn't do it, Cowboy Bebop couldn't do it. Even a series like Death Note, which is much more centered in reality, couldn't
Yeah.
make a
I don't know
live-action
how they
adaptation
messed that
that
up.
captured the spirit of the original. But the show about pirates with superpowers sailing the world to find treasure managed to outdo everyone else, and it got renewed for a second season almost immediately after it aired. In almost every medium
It was
from
great.
manga, anime, and live action, One Piece is in a league by itself. And something about the payoff of this 3-decade-long journey makes it so worthwhile to me.
30
I don't think I'm
years?
over-exaggerating when I say that the moment the One Piece is revealed and Luffy reaches his lifelong dream, is gonna be a watershed moment in pop culture. When that final chapter is released, the world will remember that day as the day when one of the greatest stories ever told came to an end. And I think being there to witness that moment live as someone who watched every single one of the Straw Hats adventures as they happened is worth it. If you're a fan of manga, if you're a fan of adventure, if you're a fan of great storytelling, do yourself the favor and join the crew while they're still sailing. Because I think that's a journey worth taking. But why? What is it that makes One Piece
Yeah, like, what
specifically
is it?
so much better than everything else? Is One Piece a perfect story? No, that doesn't exist. There's real pacing issues, especially in the anime, that bog down certain
I heard
events
about
to
that.
unnecessary lengths. Some of the humor may not land, and there is
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. If I watch One Piece on stream, we're skipping all the filler. My girlfriend brother is a huge One Piece fan. He tells me to watch it all the time, and he told me how to watch it. You got to watch like the first 3 movies to get on episode like 300 after that or something like that. And I wasn't opposed to it. Like I said, I just got to sit down and watch it, bro.
filler. Some of it's fire, but it does take up a decent portion of screen time. But in comparison to all of the things that it does right, these are relatively small prices to pay. Because once you really get into the story of One Piece, you realize that its greatest strength is thinking that there's no way the show can get better, and it proves you wrong every single time. Yes, there's some arcs that stand out above others, but there's no real significant dip in quality in between, and each one of these arcs has those moments that will just absolutely floor you with how powerful they are. It never feels like a super tedious watch or read either, because even though it's a long series, that time doesn't feel wasted. The length allows for this world to breathe and also helps keep the series fresh by diversifying the locations where these arcs take place. The deserts of Alabasta are nothing like the underwater kingdom of Fishman Island, which is nothing like the graveyards of Thriller Bark, which is nothing like Whole Cake Island, which is literally just an island made of desert ruled by a 29-foot tall woman child with 85 kids. This is a grand scale adventure in every sense of the word, with massive diverse places to explore, filled with one of the greatest casts of characters you'll find in a piece of fiction. Luffy is just about the best protagonist you could ask for. His unwavering will and energetic personality makes him extremely
I love Luffy character design. He does out of the big 3, even Naruto. Like, he has my favorite character design. Like, I know, like I said, like 2 videos ago that their character designs are kind of iffy, but he does have my favorite character design.
likable and easy to root for. He is going to become the king of the pirates. You'll hear that a lot. His goal hasn't changed for 26 years, and he's surrounded himself with the
So his
perfect
goal is basically becoming the Hokage, like in Naruto terms, right?
crew to
The
help
king of the pirates is basically the Hokage in a way, but it's through like the whole entire world.
follow him on this impossible quest. Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Nami, Frankie, Chopper, Robin, Brook, and Jinbei. These are 9 completely different characters who all complement each other perfectly. Because in some way, shape, or form, Luffy has done something to each one of them to change their lives for the better, and they're all united in his cause to become king. And this is just the main crew. I could literally go all day in detail explaining each and every villain, side character, faction of power, character relationships, and I wouldn't really come close to explaining just how well Oda balances out the sheer amount of characters. To put something in perspective, the Dressrosa arc is centered around one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Don Quixote do Flamingo, and his rule over the kingdom of Dressrosa. Obviously, being that the arc is centered around this man,
He's looking
we
my favorite
learn in
villain.
great detail about his
Character-wise,
backstory and how
character
he
design.
came to be the evil, tyrannical dictator we see the Straw Hats try to stop. But the character who many consider to have the best character moment in this arc isn't Doflamingo, but one of his henchmen, Senor Pink, who looks like this. And the reason why he looks like this will truly break your heart. It is without question a top 3 backstory in the series, and it was
Really?
given to someone who wasn't even close to being the most important person in that arc. But I
One Piece literally cares about every character. That's what I'm picking up. They literally don't like. Okay, so basically in Naruto, like let's say Rock Lee for example, we seen a lot of Rock Lee fights and stuff regular Naruto, but when we got to Shippuden, he kind of dipped off. They don't do that in One Piece. Is that true? I ain't gonna
other
lie,
story
bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm feeling a little bit of emotions, and I ain't even watched the show. And he don't even have commentary over this. Like not commentary, but the dub or sub, over this.
all of the reasons people gush over it will become abundantly clear. Which
Okay.
begs the question, when does One Piece really start to get good? You'll hear a lot of people say that this show doesn't get good until episode 500, or
Yeah, that's
if I
what I
have to
heard.
wait
I heard
200
that.
episodes before a show gets good, I'm not interested. And obviously those are exaggerations, but at what point in this story does it really hook you in? The answer to this question varies from person to person. Some people will say that it never captivated them, while others will say that it wasn't until the 100th or 200th episodes where they really started to appreciate One Piece.
But
I
that's
think
why
the
you watch
most
the
common
movies,
answer
right?
you'll get from people
That's why you watch those movies, and then you start it. Because if you watch the movies, it will make you it'll help you understand more, right?
is around the
You wouldn't have to watch the 200 episodes. You could just go straight on to it, straight on to like episode 300, right?
Arlong Park saga, specifically this moment in chapter 81 of the manga and episode 38 of the anime, where Nami asks for Luffy's help against the fishmen who've been terrorizing her home for the last decade. And while I understand where people are coming from when they say this, they kind of discredit all of the great moments in this story that happened before this moment. Sanji's relationship with Zeph, Zoro's fight against Mihawk, Luffy's introduction and escape from Axe-Hand Morgan, everything with Kuro. There's a whole series worth of events that happens before the moment that everyone says the story gets good. I'll concede that Nami's call for help is a defining moment in the series, but I truly believe that this show is great from episode 1. It may not be at its most refined, but there's a certain charm to these early seasons that you'll miss as the arc starts to get more and more intense. No, really, there's like 3 whole genocides that happen post-time skip alone, on top of themes like slavery, the corruption of power, racism, anti-establishment, child murder. This is a story aimed at teens and young adults, but that doesn't mean it's all sunshine and rainbows. This is a series that tackles real issues, specifically the confliction of different ideologies. Being that Luffy is as bright-eyed as he values true freedom above everything else in this world, and will stop at nothing to ensure that these desires are fulfilled. And he is constantly challenged by those who view his mindset as problematic, from the control-seeking world government to other pirates who view him as a threat. If you're someone who values flashy, action-packed fight scenes above everything else, you might not get as much from One Piece as other series. Don't get me wrong, there's some real quality fights in this show that'll satisfy your needs, but I find that One Piece doesn't really focus on the fights themselves, but instead cares more about the reasons why they're fighting in the first place, and how these differing beliefs clash together. I'll stop there for now. Like I said before, there's a million reasons why you should experience this show, and I could spend hours explaining every little minute detail, but the best thing you can do for yourself, if you even have a passing interest in this series, is to just start it and go at your own pace. Trust me, it's gonna be running for at least a few more years, so it's not going anywhere. And I can almost guarantee that as you really start to get invested in their journey, those chapters start slipping away, and before you know it, you'll be waiting weekly just like the rest of us. This is a journey that you will enjoy taking, and when that last chapter finally rolls out, you can say that you were there to witness history. So stop being scared and experience One Piece in whatever form you want, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Thanks for watching.
W video. I got a lot of thinking to do about watching One Piece because my girlfriend may want to watch it with me, and you know, I might not make those into videos. But if I do watch it, and if she says she doesn't really want to watch it with me, then I'll stream it or whatever. But yeah, man, One Piece is slowly hooking me. Watching these videos and learning more about One Piece, I can't lie, I'm starting to understand what you guys are coming from, and I ain't even watched the series yet. So, One Piece fans, y'all may be in luck. Y'all may have a new member joining y'all crew. Isn't that how y'all say it? I don't know. Anyway, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna set a high goal for y'all. A highlight goal. If this video get 1,000 likes, I will watch One Piece on stream, and I will make it into a marathon. The summer's coming up, so I got the time. Anyway, hit that like and subscribe button. Universal out. We'll be back for more.